Welcome back to part 2 of our Facebook ads video tutorials. We have Stephen back from Monster Studios. Thanks for coming again, Stephen.
Thank you, Ben.
And we're in Liquid Studios, the home of the BIPC Cumbria webinars. Thank you to them for making this possible. So today it's less about us chatting, more about watching Stephen set up something live so you can relate that to your Facebook account, your Facebook ads account, and work out a good starting point for where you should begin on Facebook ads for your business.
Hello and welcome back. As Ben mentioned, I'm going to walk you through how to put a Facebook campaign together. This is more of a step-by-step, so I won't be going into the nuances or the nitty-gritty of it, but really more to show you how to get a successful campaign off the ground and then some of the sort of KPIs and metrics that you want to be looking at further down the line. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump straight into Business Manager and then we're going to go through it step by step. So the first thing you want to do is figure out what kind of campaign you would like to run. So as I mentioned when I was sitting with Ben, that this platform's making it a lot more easier for you to figure out how to put a campaign together based on your objective. So that's what we're going to select first. So if you have absolutely zero brand awareness out there, so this is the first time you've ever put an ad campaign together, I would highly recommend you start with awareness. If you've ran ads before and you've been pretty successful with it and you're wanting to drive more traffic to your website or to a landing page, then you go to traffic. If you're wanting a bit more engagement with your ads, so if you want people to look at your ad and engage with it, then hit engagement. If you're wanting leads, this is people putting their names, their emails, and things like that, their phone numbers, into a database, then you want to go for leads. If you've got an app promotion, so if you've got an app on iOS or Android and you're wanting to promote that, go to app promotion. If you're in e-commerce and you want more sales, then you go to sales. I know it sounds very straightforward and it may sound like I'm teaching you to suck eggs, but you would be amazed at how many times people get this wrong. So getting your objective right in your own mind is the first thing that you need to do. So for demonstration purposes, we're just going to start with an awareness campaign. So I'm going to click on awareness and then head straight down. Now, before I jump into that, if you're a little bit unsure about what your objective is, it'll tell you on each of the sections there what those objectives are ideal for. So as I say, we're going to jump straight into an awareness campaign there. So now we're into the awareness campaign. You want to name it. Name it something you're going to remember. Don't just leave it as that, because you might get confused as to when this campaign ran, what's it for. So what you want to do is you name it specifically for the date and the time that you've run it at, so then you can be aware of when that campaign started, because sometimes when you dig into the data, it doesn't always come up of when you started that campaign. So we're going to run this today. There's a BIPC collab, the date today being the 8th, so 8th of the 2nd, 24. So now I've now labelled that ad, so I know exactly what that ad is all about. So we're going to scroll down. I want you to ignore the special ad categories unless you're doing rental properties, unless you're doing recruitment, anything like that. Then you want to check those special categories off there. Then what you're going to do then is go straight down to the bottom, ignore all the rest, and go straight into your ad set. So this will be where you're going to create your audience. So what you want to do is name it again, the same thing, and then you're not going to get confused. 8th. Okay. So what's your performance goal? That's been also, it's something you need to be clear on with what you're doing there as well with your objective. Now, you have got things there like reach of your ads, reach of impressions, maximize recall lift. If this is something that you've not done before, just leave it as a default. The good thing about Meta or Facebook's business platform is a lot of it's default, so it just makes things run a lot smoother if you just go through the default to begin with. As you get a bit more advanced and a little bit more skilled with it, then you can start looking at changing some of these default settings. So then we're coming on to the budget and schedule. So for an awareness campaign, I'm only using this as an example, I would roughly start at no more than £2 a day to get going. That way, it's something that you can look at kind of scaling quite quickly. It's not going to break the bank massively, but it gives you enough budget for you to split between 2 or 3 audiences, potentially only 2. If you're splitting with 3 audiences, maybe £3. So let's go for £2 a day. Don't worry about the date and the time unless there's a time that you want those ads to run at. There is an insider trick where it says if you start the ad today, publish it today, but you run them tomorrow, then the algorithm's got a full 24 hours to play with, and then it kind of gives you a little bit more of a head start. I don't know how much truth's in that, but that's what I've been sort of told within my network of media buyers. So we're just going to leave that for that sake there. And then we're going to look at your audience controls here. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at some of the audiences and who we're going to target. So for instance, I'm wanting to meet with more businesses who need a little bit more help with advertising. So the first ad I'm going to look at is people in the UK. I'm not going to look at people outside the UK until I get to a point where I'm comfortable with a UK audience, and then I know their pain points and discovering what things they're getting frustrated with, and then I can dig a little bit into that further, and then I can start expanding my audiences to other English-speaking nations like Australia, New Zealand, America, and so on. But for now, we're just going to stick with the UK. You can also go a little bit more granular with an area. So if you wanted to target a specific town, a specific region, then you can do that as well. But for demonstration purposes, we'll just keep it as the UK. Then what we're going to do then is look at the interests of these audiences. So if I'm looking at business owners, people in my demographic, the people I want to attract, I'm going to look at someone who's a little bit older in age. So I'm going to start at 30, and I'm going to run it all the way up to 65. That just gives me a greater age difference there as well. Genders doesn't really matter. And now we're going to look at the detailed targeting. So we're going to look at things that they could be potentially interested in. So if I put business owner here, spell that right, there we go. So you've got a business owner who's an employee, you've got employers, but what we want is a business owner as a job title. So we're going to click on that. Now, the other great thing about Facebook is if I then tap into suggestions, it will then start giving me a whole load of other suggestions I can start looking at using. Now, when doing these, don't go crazy and put 10, 15 different interests in there. Keep it very small and keep it very precise and concise to what you're wanting to attract. So I'll have maybe owner and CEO or an MD, managing director, and I'm going to leave it at that. If you look in the audience definition side there, you'll see I've got an audience size of 33 to 38 million. Now, that is probably massively off in a way, because I don't think it's all that accurate. So I wouldn't pay that much attention to that. However, what I will say is use it as a guide. So if you are getting under $1 million, under $500,000, under 250,000, then maybe you want to try to broaden it a little bit, so then you're forcing the algorithm to kind of do its job. If it's really, really small, then you're going to have to put your budget up more, because then this puts more fuel into the algorithm to find you those type of people. So we've got the detailed targeting boxed off there. Placement, I'm going to leave as is there as well. So we'll just go on to next. Now this is where you're going to create the ad. This is where you're going to put your, what they call ad copy, your text. This is where you're going to put your image or your video. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to call it something slightly different. So I'm going to call it BIPC collab ad 1, because we're going to be testing various ads, and I'm going to quickly talk about the ad structure and how you want to be testing them shortly. So we have here the the page that you want to assign that to, and then you've got your Instagram account there as well. If you haven't got your Instagram account set up, I highly recommend you do so. It doesn't cost you any more to advertise over both platforms, but it's going to be helpful because you're doubling your chances there of getting your ad seen. So what we're going to do then is we're going to look at creating a single image or video. Now, this is really, really paramount. So when you're selecting a video, keep it really short, keep it really concise, and get straight to the point of the message. What you'll find is a lot of business owners get drawn in by the whole Hollywood finish of a video. Nothing could be further from the truth. If you look at some of the most viral videos out there on social media, you'll find it's just someone with a phone, pointing the phone at themselves, talking, or pointing their, like myself, stood here and just keeping it very, 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 very basic, very, very minimal. So don't overthink it when you're doing a video. Just be very clear on it. It doesn't have to be scripted. Just call out who it is that you want to talk to, talk about their problems very, very briefly, and then offer them a solution. As I mentioned to Ben, don't use this as a way of trying to cash in on that sale. Use this as an opportunity to get that person's interest, get that person to follow you, get that person to inquire more about your services. With an awareness campaign, you're not going to make that sale, okay? This is the very top end of the funnel. So this is top of funnel. This is where people are just getting to know who you are as a brand, as an individual, as a business. So give them some value, give them something that they're going to be able to act upon. With that, they may give you their email address or phone number at a later date on a different ad campaign. So we're going to go into the text part there. So this is where you put your offer. Now, there's a couple of things you need to be wary of. Using words like you, your, are frowned upon with Facebook because that's almost like you're pointing the finger at their problem. So if you want to lose weight, will get flagged immediately. Or if you're frustrated or upset that you're not losing weight, again, that's going to get flagged. So be a little bit more diplomatic when you're addressing an individual's pain points. For me personally, when I'm addressing a business owner, I'll say, business owners, do you struggle with Facebook advertising? And then I'll go into a few of the problems that, that Ben mentioned before. Maybe you've burnt through £500 worth of budget and you've still not seen any return on your investment. Here's why. And then I'd give them 3 steps on why that has happened. I'm not looking for anything in return. I'm just going to give them immense value within this first ad because it's an awareness ad. Now, I could do that through video. I could do that through a text. And with the image, I could just put a big bit of text saying, business owners struggling with Facebook ads, ? Now, I'm asking a question as if, are you struggling with Facebook ads? Oh, well, I might be actually. And now I'm going to read the text. If I've done my job properly, then that's going to then hopefully get them to follow or maybe drop me a message or something like that. But that's not what I'm trying to do it for. Again, this is an awareness ad. So once you've got your offer, you've got your video, or you've got your text, all you want to do then is go to tracking, and you want to track this properly. This is not a video where I'm going to show you how to set that tracking up. That's something for potentially another time because there is a lot that goes into it. But if you are linking it to a website, make sure you're linking it to your tracking is linked to the website events. In this case, I'm not going to be doing that. So all I'm going to do now is hit publish. Now, once I've hit published and that ad has gone live, what I'm going to then do is go back to it and I'm going to duplicate it. So when I duplicate that ad, I'm able to go into the ad set, which is where the audience is, okay? And then I'm going to duplicate it from this level here, original campaign. And the reason I'm going to duplicate it at this level is because I'm going to try a different audience. So here we go. I'm going to put this here. I'm going to put audience 2. And then all I'm going to do, keep everything the same. All I'm going to do here is edit this bit here. and I'm going to remove this one, and I'm going to have just business owners as a job title, or as an employee, whatever it might be. I'm going to remove one of the detailed tagging. I'm going to remove it all completely and just have it as a broad audience, and then I'm going to hit publish. Once that's been approved, now you've got one campaign, you've got two audiences, and then you've got one ad running. So what I said before was I'm going to show you what the ad structure would be with that. So once you have got one ad running, don't duplicate it until that has been approved, because if you duplicate it before it's been approved and it gets rejected, then you've got two ads that are rejected, and that's two red flags. So wait for everything to be approved first before duplicating anything. So now I'm going to go into the ad set, or the ads level. This is where your offer is in your copy in your video. I'm going to duplicate it again. I'm going to keep everything the same, but I might try a different video, or I might try a different text, or I might try the same text but with a different background. The formula you want to be testing is 3 by 5. 3 audiences, 5 different ads. So you can test 3 audiences, which is doing the best out of those 3. You use that audience rather, and then you've got 5 ads themselves. So that could be 3 images, 2 videos. It doesn't matter what the formula is. 5 is usually a good rule of thumb. Then you can see out of those 5 which one is doing the best. The ones that aren't doing the best, just chop them out, put a bit more money into the ones that are doing the best, but then try to repeat the process over and over and over again until you've got what they call ad control. This ad controls the platform. Nothing can beat it, and then that's where you put a lot of your money. So that's where 80% of your budget's going, testing these audiences and then testing those ad creatives. So that is a brief overview of how to build an awareness campaign. You follow the same for any type of other objective, 3 by 5, test, 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 test. Make sure you're compliant. If you are unsure of the compliance rules, make sure that you read the guidelines within Facebook itself, and you can't far go wrong.
Thanks for that, Stephen. I certainly saw a lot of where I went wrong in the basic mechanics and how much the platform's changed since I've looked at it. So that was really good to see it from a current perspective, also to get your knowledge on that. If you would like to know more from Stephen, his details are down below in this video. If you need to get in touch with the BIPC, our details are also there for all your sort of business questions and support, whether you're pre or post startup within the Cumbria area.
A Liquid Studios production.